We all know them. The clever girls from Jurassic Park. Hunting in packs. Communicating. Outthinking the humans. That kitchen scene. The moment the door handle turns. For an entire generation, the Velociraptor became the symbol of prehistoric intelligence, fast, lethal, and terrifyingly aware. But here's what Hollywood never told you. The real raptors were stranger, more diverse, and in many ways even more fascinating than anything on screen. Some were the size of a crow. Others were genuinely the stuff of nightmares. And the group as a whole, the dromaeosaurids, represents one of the most successful predatory lineages in the history of life on Earth. This is the story of the raptors. All of them. From the smallest to the largest. And by the end of this video, you will never think about them the same way again. What actually makes a raptor? Before we meet them individually, let's establish what we're talking about. When paleontologists say raptor, they mean Dromaeosauridae, a family of feathered theropod dinosaurs characterized by a few key features. A large sickle-shaped claw on the second toe of each foot, held off the ground when walking and deployed during prey capture. A stiffened tail used as a dynamic stabilizer during high-speed movement. And in most species, a covering of feathers, not the scales of the movies, but genuine feathers, in some cases nearly indistinguishable from those of modern birds of prey. They were, in the truest sense, the wolves of the Mesozoic. And like wolves, they came in many sizes and occupied very different ecological roles. 1. Microraptor guae. The four-winged flyer. We start at the very bottom of the size scale. Microraptor guae lived approximately 125 million years ago in what is now China, and it was roughly the size of a modern pigeon, around 40 to 60 centimeters in total length. What makes Microraptor extraordinary is that it had feathers on all four limbs, forming two pairs of wings that almost certainly allowed it to glide and possibly to achieve powered flight. Its preferred prey was equally small, fish snatched from the surface of shallow lakes, small lizards, and early birds or climbing mammals caught in the forest canopy. Microraptor almost certainly hunted from above, launching from elevated branches and using its four feathered surfaces to control its descent onto unsuspecting prey below. It was, in effect, a predatory drone, tiny, precise, and operating in a three-dimensional space that larger predators could not reach. 2. Anchiornis huxleyi. The feathered pioneer. Anchiornis pushes the boundary between raptor and bird almost to the breaking point. Living around 160 million years ago in China, earlier than Archaeopteryx, this tiny feathered dinosaur weighed less than 200 grams and bore long feathers on both arms and legs. Its coloration has actually been reconstructed from fossilized melanosums, a black and white body with a rufous red crest. It looked, remarkably, like a woodpecker. Anchiornis almost certainly hunted insects, large Jurassic beetles, dragonflies, primitive moths, snatching them from vegetation or from the air with quick precise lunges. Its sickle claw was small and likely used for climbing and gripping branches as much as for subduing prey. 3. Velociraptor mongoliensis. The real clever girl. Here it is. The famous one. And the first thing you need to know is that the real Velociraptor was approximately the size of a large turkey. Not the human-sized predator of the films, a lean, feathered animal roughly 60 centimeters at the hip and perhaps 2 meters from snout to tail tip, weighing around 15 kilograms. Velociraptor lived in the late Cretaceous deserts of Mongolia, and its preferred prey was almost certainly Protoceratops, a sheep-sized horned dinosaur found in the same deposits. We know this because the famous fighting dinosaurs fossil preserves a Velociraptor and a Protoceratops locked in mortal combat, the raptor's sickle claw driven into the ceratopsian's throat and the ceratopsian's beak clamped on the raptor's forearm. Velociraptor almost certainly hunted alone or in loose association rather than in coordinated packs. It used its sickle claw not to slash, the blade was too narrow for that, but to pin struggling prey while the jaws delivered repeated biting attacks. Fast, persistent, and precise. 4. Deinonychus antiropus. The game changer. If Velociraptor is the famous one, Deinonychus is the important one. Discovered in Montana and described in 1969 by paleontologist John Ostrom, Deinonychus single-handedly launched the dinosaur renaissance, the scientific revolution that transformed our understanding of dinosaurs from sluggish reptiles to active, warm-blooded, bird-like animals. Deinonychus was significantly larger than Velociraptor, around 3.4 meters in length and 70 to 80 kilograms. It lived in the early Cretaceous of North America and hunted Deinonychus, an ornithopod dinosaur up to 7 meters long and several times heavier than the raptor itself. Multiple Deinonychus individuals have been found associated with Deinonychus carcasses, suggesting at minimum that these animals tolerated each other at kills, and possibly that they cooperated in bringing down prey far larger than themselves. Its hunting method combined the pinning sickle claw with powerful grasping forelimbs and repeated slashing bites, an animal that would latch onto prey and hold on while delivering damage, using its stiffened tail to maintain balance during the struggle. 5. Tsogon mongoose. The Mongolian predator. Less famous than its cousin Velociraptor but equally deadly in its environment, Tsogon mongoose, whose name means white monster in Mongolian, was a mid-sized dromaeosaurid from the late Cretaceous of Mongolia. Slightly more robustly built than Velociraptor, it occupied a similar ecological role in the same desert ecosystem, likely targeting small to medium ceratopsians and juvenile sauropods. What distinguishes Tsogon anatomically is its more robust skull and deeper jaw, suggesting it may have been capable of delivering more powerful bites than its more lightly built relatives, potentially targeting slightly larger or more resistant prey. 6. Utahraptor exquisitus. The exquisite hunter. Found in China and described only in 2010, Utahraptor exquisitus is one of the most completely preserved dromaeosaurids ever discovered, nearly every bone in articulation. It occupied a size range between Velociraptor and Deinonychus, approximately 2.5 meters in length, and its skeletal proportions suggest it was built for speed above all else, long hind limbs relative to body size, a lightweight skull, and a particularly large and strongly curved sickle claw. Utahraptor almost certainly targeted fast-moving prey, small ornithopods and juvenile ceratopsians, relying on pure acceleration to close the distance before its prey could react, then using the enlarged sickle claw to immediately immobilize the prey's limbs. 7. Sauroniphilis langstoni. The bird hunter. A smaller North American dromaeosaurid from the late Cretaceous, Sauroniphilis weighed only around 5 kilograms, roughly the mass of a large house cat. What makes it remarkable is the evidence for its diet. Its teeth show distinctive wear patterns consistent with crunching through bone, and associated fossil sites suggest it fed heavily on early birds, small mammals, and lizards. Sauroniphilis was likely an agile, opportunistic hunter, quick enough to catch early birds on the ground or low branches, strong enough to crack the bones of small prey to access marrow. A generalist predator, surviving on whatever the late Cretaceous of North America provided. 8. Utahraptor steini. The giant of Hell Creek. Now the scale shifts dramatically. Utahraptor was described in 2015 from Hell Creek Formation deposits in South Dakota, and it immediately redrew the map of late Cretaceous North American predators. At approximately 5 to 6 meters in length and weighing an estimated 220 to 350 kilograms, Utahraptor was the largest dromaeosaurid in its ecosystem, and it lived alongside Tyrannosaurus rex. Its prey almost certainly included mid-sized ornithopods, juvenile ceratopsians, and potentially juvenile hadrosaurs, animals too large for smaller predators but too fast and agile to be worth the effort for a T-Rex. Utahraptor filled a predatory gap that no other animal in Hell Creek occupied. Its enormous sickle claw, 16 centimeters along the outer curve, was not a slashing weapon but a gripping hook, used to anchor the raptor onto the body of large struggling prey while the powerful jaws did the killing work. 9. Utahraptor ostromesaurum. The apex of the family. And here, at the top of the size scale, stands Utahraptor, the largest dromaeosaurid ever discovered. Living in the early Cretaceous of Utah approximately 125 million years ago, Utahraptor reached lengths of 5.5 to 7 meters and weights potentially exceeding 500 kilograms. Its sickle claw alone measured over 22 centimeters along the outer curve, a weapon the size of a large kitchen knife. Utahraptor hunted the enormous sauropods and large ornithopods of its ecosystem, prey that outweighed it by factors of 10 or more. Its hunting strategy almost certainly involved the same basic raptor toolkit scaled up enormously: explosive acceleration, the grip of the large sickle claws driven into the prey's flank, and sustained grip during the kill. An animal this size, locking onto the side of a sauropod, would have been extraordinarily difficult to dislodge. Utahraptor is, in every measurable sense, the raptor that Jurassic Park always promised you. It just lived 60 million years too early for the movie's timeline. The legacy of the raptors. From Microraptor gliding through a Jurassic forest canopy to Utahraptor driving its enormous sickle claws into the flank of a sauropod, the dromaeosaurids span an almost incomprehensible range of body sizes, hunting strategies, and ecological roles. They were feathered. They were active. Many were intelligent by reptilian standards. And the line between the smallest of them and modern birds of prey is, genetically and anatomically, almost non-existent. The clever girls from Jurassic Park were never quite right. But the truth, spread across 100 million years and a dozen species, is better than any film. The raptors were real. And they were extraordinary.